Today we're going on a city tour of Medellin. I'm very, very excited. Been wanting to do this for weeks. We do this in almost every city that we're in, and I think it's a great way to learn history and meet people and see the city through somebody who should know what they're talking about. And I'm gonna share some cool things I learned with you today about Medellin and why I think you should do a city tour wherever you're at. So come along. I'm wearing this Reformation dress that I got from Crossroads for a third of the price, probably less. We are late, but it's gonna be fun. Keep it locked. We made it, and we're not the last ones.
Paisas are so proud. They're proud of the air they breathe, the floors they step on. I mean, such a proud culture. But guys, I don't think we Paisas are proud. I think we are very arrogant. And the thing that we're the most proud about is Medellin, the city that represents the center of our culture. A lot of people got to know this place because of the bad days we had to go through during the 80s and the 90s, or even worse, because of the criminal that came from these parts. So I'm not going to say his name.
Damn.
Because the thing is that if somebody comes along, no likelihood they won't understand English. So they're going to hear something like this. Blah, 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 blah. The criminal, blah, blah. Could get into very uncomfortable discussions because of that.
First surprising thing that I learned is the connection with Pablo Escobar and Paisa, native people here in the US. We get a lot of glorification of Pablo Escobar and even Griselda and so Narcos, and I don't think we talk about how polarizing of a figure he is, and it's a tricky, sensitive subject for local people here. So don't come here wearing your freaking Pablo Escobar short shirt or your Pablo Escobar chain or whatever you guys do that are obsessed with criminals. People come and foreigners come and put flowers on his grave, and nobody puts flowers on the victims' graves. It's crazy, like 40,000 people dead. We cannot glorify, glamorize this dude. Shame on Hollywood. So that's the first interesting thing I learned. There's a complicated history or complicated relationship with Pablo Escobar in Medellin. So be careful if you're coming and you're into that kind of stuff. Just be careful. You don't know who you're talking to, who's been impacted. I wouldn't learn that if I just watched Narcos. Okay, and we're off.
So around the bush, there are some horses and some waves. Those horses are struggling. They're trying to cross swamps and rivers to be able to get to the south, to what we call today the coffee zone, or the coffee triangle. So if today you go to places like Cocora Valley, Salento, Pereira, all those places south from here that are super famous for their amazing coffee, they also have Paisa culture. That means that you're gonna find the same accent in Spanish, the same kind of food, and the same pride.
Another interesting thing I learned is, so last week we went to the flower festival, and they were using this word like steillas. I'm gonna have to figure out what the word is, but it's like chairs in Spanish. And so I learned that the farmers, so we went to the parade last week, and I'll insert some photos there, but like they would put the chairs on and carry the flowers like through the whole parade. And this is supposed to be a homage to back in the day when the farmers from in the mountains would come down and bring their flowers, and it was before cars and things like that, so they would literally carry the stuff on their back. So this whole festival is an homage to that, and it's really fun. And it's still like the farmers who run the parade have to be from this same specific area from back in the day. That's another thing I learned. I think that's really, really cool. It was super fun. Like people really cheer on the farmers. So another cool thing I learned about Medellin and the festival. Number 2.
A lot of people wanted them demolished, gone. But we said, no. Let's turn the symbols of our fears into the symbols of our transformation. So nowadays, the one with green doors is the headquarters of Education Medellin. That one with brown doors is the headquarters of Culture in Medellin. So with the security, the different teaching programs, the changes always saw in places like this, the metro, the escalators in Comuna 13, and the cable cars, Medellin started seeing new days. But this particular neighborhood, we call it El Hueco. Means something like the hole or the pit. We love buying clothing here because one of the main industries in Medellin is clothing manufacturing. So you can find brands that you've never seen before at wholesale price. So courthouses and judges were here. But nowadays it's a place where they sell the best counterfeit shoes. Actually, the bell is ringing. That is very uncommon. Bells are incredibly expensive. They break. What churches today are doing is that they have a recording, so they put on a speaker with the bell sounds.
Trampos.
But this one actually uses the real bells, and that's what makes it like a bit more special than other churches. But Susie calls it the language of disproportions. Because do you see that horse? It has a very strong body and a small head. But the man's head is a lot bigger than the poor horse's head. There's a bigger disproportion in this one. This guy's not chubby, he's got six-pack. And the little thin guys, those sculptures were made in Italy, where Botero lived for a long time. Those are not size of proportions.
I'm done.
Sepas que de ti nadie se ha olvidado. Dejaste mil semillas.
So one thing I also learned that's interesting is that there's a lot of pride in the metro system. The metro system came after all the bad days of Pablo Escobar, and they keep it super clean, and it's like the heartbeat of Medellin. And they had a metro before Bogota, which is the capital. These people are torn from Ireland, Australia, the UK, all types of places. Croatia. Just, it's cool. We're all foreigners in this city, and we're also getting to connect with other people and some people from back home. Ooh, is this a beauty supply?
Maybe I should flash some cash.
Orange.
Fuck the 20.
Fuck the 20! Woo! Done closed all my rings. Walked 11,000 steps today. Distance was 5 miles. I'm tired. This dress really gave, baby. Reformation, baby. But one of the last few things that I learned today, there was an initiative to add plants to Medellin. Medellin has so many plants. And in terms of the architecture, the style, so many trees, really gives a more grounded feel to the city. Like being from New York, we don't have that much trees. An interesting initiative. They planted, like, I don't want to lie about the number, but there was a really big push to plant X amount of trees in Medellin specifically. With the adding of trees, Medellin actually got a lot cooler by 2 Celsius degrees. Ain't that interesting if you're into urban design or city development? Medellin is such an interesting, innovative city to think about. Its history, its architecture, its culture. There's so many cool things that I think is worth diving deeper. It was great to take this walking tour because another thing I love is that you get to discover parts of the city that maybe you want to return to. So today we went to the park with all the Botero statues, and those are the kind of bigger statues here. You've probably seen a lot of people. If you've seen photos of people in Medellin, this is probably one of the things you've seen. And we only got about like 20 minutes to like walk around. It was so freaking hot, sweltering. The sun was beaming down on us. So I think that was all we really needed, but I definitely would want to come back and see each sculpture probably during the day, during the week, when there's less people versus a weekend. And there's a museum over there that I would love to go back to. So I would have never even known or had reference for these places if I didn't do this walking tour today. So shout out to Walking Tours for showing me new parts of the city. There was a question that somebody asked, and I don't know, maybe this is the bias of my tour guide, but she was talking about gentrification and how truly a majority of the people who come to Medellin leave within 28 days or so. So she doesn't feel like gentrification or the expats that are coming are really the cause of increased prices. She was like, there is a home shortage and we don't have enough homes, period, and things are getting more expensive. That tension can explain why things seem unaffordable for Colombians versus an influx of foreigners. She mentioned that most foreigners, when they come, they live in El Poblado and only in a small section of El Poblado. She was saying like 5% is not gonna create gentrification. I don't know, what the trends are saying, but that's what she was saying. So I would say that's an afterthought. That was interesting. Especially, like I said, I'm from New York and gentrification is such a big problem or a big conversation. It's a problem. I just moved from Oakland. I lived in Oakland for the last 3 years. Gentrification is a conversation there. I have never heard a native of a place talk about the numbers, you know what I mean, and who are we pointing to. It's nice and clean for me because that makes me not part of the problem, and I can totally be part of the problem, totally. This is the first tour where I would say we hung out after. Like, we literally went to 3 different spots after meeting people on this tour. Somebody was from Hong Kong, William. We cheers to his 30th birthday this year. Shout out to that. The 2 girls were both teachers in Scotland, but one of them was from Ireland, and another girl was originally from London. And then there's me, a Nigerian American from New York living in the Bay, and then my partner, who is a Botswana native, but green card holder of the US. It was just such an interesting conversation and why people freaking travel. Anyway, I have gone on a tangent, but take a walking tour in whatever city you are in. It is totally worth it, worth your time, and come to Medellin. Come to Medellin. Take a tour. Take a city tour, and it's free. Tip what you want. Yeah, I'm tired. Yeah, I'm gonna eat my leftovers and wrap it up. Let me know, do you take walking tours when you travel? Have you taken a walking tour in your home city? Where has your favorite walking tour been? If you haven't, why not? I would say look in Google, look in Airbnb experiences. All right. Adios. Thank you so much. I'm so tired.